Alright, I've been mostly working on my bathroom. You guys probably seen pictures on Instagram, but my buddy had to leave a little early today, so I got to come back out here and play just a bit. What I'm going to work on now is closing this out. And you can see they left this, I don't know why, they left this little deal here, and then you got a space here, and then that space there, and then of course there's this area here. So I cut a couple little pieces out, thinking, you know, I'd just box that in, and now I'm just thinking about taking a template and just making a piece, one solid piece that fits this. Cut this piece out, this 20 gauge, whatever, and making this one solid piece, like it was, all made together, like I did this here. I went ahead and filled all that in and got it ground down, and you can see how that turned out. So that's closed in inside and out, welded inside and out, ready to go. So that's a done deal there. Just gotta kind of do the same thing over here and get it filled in. And then we can get these wheel wells and stuff hooked. Actually, I say that I gotta flip this over. I gotta do the other side of this area on the bottom on both sides, which won't be a big deal. But this thing's got so heavy now with all this other stuff, I'm gonna have to have help to flip it over, and I think I mentioned that in previous videos. So I may end up having to clear that table off and figure out a way to, maybe I'll take my cherry picker or something and wrap some stuff around it, try to get it up over there and flip it over. Either that or have my wife help me this evening when she gets home. But anyway, yeah, but I'm going to work on this here first while I got it flipped over this way and see if I can't get something done. So I'm going to take some of that paper. I forgot what they call this. You get this at a hobby shop, but it's basically, it's not cardboard, but it's thicker. I forgot what they call that. I don't know, maybe construction paper or something like that. But I use it to make the patterns and stuff. And it's cheap. I think I paid, what's that, $1.99 or something at Hobby Lobby. No, $3.99 for a whole big rack of it. So comes in pretty handy. And you can use cardboard. You can use whatever you want, but. And I've got lots of scrap over here from DSE stuff that I didn't use, so I'll be able to maybe bend that. I'll make my little brake like you remember before. I set up a little brake here and bent the pieces around. I may try to do that, see what I can get away with. So, all right, see ya. It ain't pretty, but I bet it works. Alright, see I made this little patch just to close this end out. And so I'm going to put some tacks on here just to get it tacked into place right now. I went ahead and beveled my edges. And when I bevel, it makes a V shape. So just so you guys have got the wording right. I want to say something real quick. I made a video and I made the butt with welding video and I went back and kind of edited it a little bit. One thing I said a long time ago, and I've said some of this on my other videos, if you weld correctly, you won't have pinholes, so you won't need fiberglass filler, all that. If you get your welds done correctly, they should come out. You should be able to smooth these down flat and just use epoxy and be done. I mean, if you have little low spots or here or there, you know, and you want to fill over top of your epoxy, that's one thing. But pinholes, a whole different story. You don't want pinholes. If you have pinholes, you've got contamination, you got something wrong with your weld. You need to make sure you clean that out, drill it out, and fix it. Fix it. Don't just slather a bunch of fiberglass over it. I know that's controversial, but because that's the way it's been done forever and ever, and no one wants to change because no one likes change. But guess what? Shit changes. That's one thing that's constant is change. And so you need to make sure you're doing this the best that you can. And as information comes along, I mean, that was information we had 15, 20 years ago. So as you get better at your craft, you start figuring things out. And watching other people, like I always talk about the Roadster shop, and there's multiple shops out there that are really, really high quality. They got this to a fine art. Now that's who I watch and try to emulate. I watch their videos, I see how they're doing, and a lot of them only show just pictures. They don't show you how to do anything. They just show pictures of it being done. But I see what they've done and how nice it is and how they've done it, and I'm like, it can be done. So that's what I strive for, and so that's what you're seeing here, as well as the other side that I already showed you guys. Alright, so I put my little tacks in, and you know, in one of my videos, this is another thing, there's multiple ways to do this, but in one of my videos I'll go in and fill in the tacks. Some of the videos I'll tack here, tack here, tack here, tack here, tack here, just right next to it, and then come back and start over, and then start over, and then start over until you're all done. You can do it either way you want to do it, doesn't matter. There's multiple ways to do this. Also, another thing that I need to make clear, because I've got a little slack over it, is the fact that I make these little button welds. Now this is just to close this in. This is not really necessarily for structural. This thing's already hooked up really strong. I'm just filling this in to make sure dirt and crap doesn't get in there. And I'm not saying that these aren't strong welds, because they are. You're not knocking this off here. But if you are going to weld for structural, you need to make a consistent bead. Basically, you're going to run, from here to here non-stop. You're not going to go zat, 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 zat. That's what you do for sheet metal. That's what I'm doing here. It's going to work. I could also run a full bead across this, which is fine. That'll work too. I'm just going to grind it down so it doesn't really matter. It just introduces more heat into it when you do that. But you need more heat when you're doing something structural. Like on the other side, I had to run that full pass to make that thing really strong, really solid, make sure it melted in good and was structural. Where did my helmet go? This little light here, awesome. All I did is take a piece of double-side Velcro, put it on this helmet that way, because before I had the strap and it kept messing, it kept flipping off and all that kind of stuff. You can take this off and you can look inside stuff and you can whatever, and then all you gotta do is pop it back on there. I like it, and so I really almost can't weld without it now, because it shows me where I'm lighting up on when I'm lighting up on the area. Otherwise it's so dark and I have a hard time seeing already after the glasses. So get out there, you little ball. So yeah, now I can either just go to town on this. Alright, I'm gonna have to shut this door. The sunlight's kicking my doodle off. Got the door open because it's nice outside today. Every time I look that direction, it's kicking off. It's kicking my helmet deal down. Okay, I just welded 2 things of that, solid. If I want to, I can do a little circle pattern, which I may try to, see, this is sheet metal, so I'm not going to do that onto that. This here is like 8-inch steel. It's pretty thick. I'm going to get away with welding a solid pass on it. Let's go back here. I got pretty hot. That blew all the way through. So I had to come back with this top one here. Really, that gap was so big, I probably needed to do little U-shapes instead of trying to do circles because it's too big, which is fine. And then you've got those, which look like little buttons or BBs or a stack of dimes-ish, if you will, or whatever you want to call it. Like I said, ultimately I'm going to grind all this off anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But when I'm leaving it for something that's for appearance, I like that. That's my personal opinion over the other. Here I'm going to do a solid pass. I'll show you what that looks like. So that's a solid burn-in. That should have good penetration. And then of course that one was that little stack. It should have penetrated too. It may not have, but again I put a bevel in there, so it's gonna be plenty good. And again, this is just for aesthetic purposes, to make it look like the other side, be all solid in one piece. So But yeah, if I was welding for structural, I would definitely go with, the heat, put it in there, make sure, especially on this thicker steel. But as I get up here, I'm in sheet metal again, so this, I'm gonna have to run these little beads like that because I don't want to burn through my sheet metal, and that's what's gonna happen if I do that. So, all right, guys. All right, there's it sealed up. Like I said, I did multiple different welds just to show the difference. And like I said, this was sheet metal, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't burn through that. So I concentrate more on this area here and then burning it in. And then, of course, these are just the longer welds. Looks like I got one little more spot right there like that. If I ground that down and that was like a hole, just go back over it with weld. I'm not just going to smear fiberglass over top of that. So, and then grind it down. So, easy fix. Alright. Let's call this little tiny hole right here, we'll call that a pinhole. That's what's left after grinding. So, here's how you fix that. We don't need to take fiberglass and smear it all over that. And if you want to, you do what you want. It's your car. That's all I said. You do whatever you want to do. So yeah, just fill that in. No big deal. You put a little heat on it. Just one little tack right there on the edge. And there it is. Probably didn't even need that much. Well, that's a little. I'll just grind that sucker off there. And make it pretty. Looks like I got the camera wrapped all around everything, or the cords wrapped all the way around the camera. Goes new. There you go. No big deal. Takes that long. Beats having to mix up fiberglass and squeeze it all over the place and do all that. So I've got some areas in here that I got to fill in. I don't know if that shows, but I'm going to weld. I'm going to continue to weld in U patterns and fill this in. I'm going to go heavier on this side and just come over and touch this because it's 20 gauge. This is thick. So I'm just going to keep doing what I did here and fill all that in and be done with it. Like I said, I'm going to leave this hole that way I can get in there and spray that with some kind of internal stuff or something that's going to keep, anything that where the welds burned off any paint inside or whatever, can get to that and protect it. All right, that's it, guys. All right, there it is. We're pretty close to done. I got a couple more little places I got to weld shut. Obviously, this will all be welded once I get that set where it needs to be. Right now, it's just kind of sitting in there with those two braces. That gives you an idea how that's going to look now compared to what it would have looked like. I think it looks a lot better like that. Of course, that'll be pushed up against there this will all be really nice and tight through here. Same with this side. You can see here. Track bar mounts in. It looks clean. Everything's symmetrical. You know, this all comes down and looks nice together. Got this boxed in behind this right here, so I can actually plug weld to that as well. And then again, once that's all in there tight, there won't be any gaps. It's gonna look real nice. So that's that cross brace that ties your two frame rails together and makes that thing a beast. Of course, your rear end and everything else tuck up underneath there, like I've said before, with shocks and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, and yeah, now I'm ready to drop the car back down on it and kind of line everything up, see how it's gonna look. And told the guy to take some measurements for him when I put the car back together on this floor pan, because he's putting new floor pan in his car. So we'll do that when it's back down. But that'll probably be another day, because, or maybe later, I don't know. We'll just see. But yeah, anyway, you guys have a good day. Alright, here's what she's looking like, all done. Close to done anyway. Yeah, I showed you guys that before. Went ahead and closed this little guy in. I don't know if I showed that earlier or not. Just put a little piece in there and welded it shut. This will all suck up nice and tight. Be welded across here. Same over here. Let's see how that looks now. Just give you a little how it turned out. Easy to weld that up. I just need to drop the car down and make sure everything's jiving the way it needs to. And yeah, that's it. So pretty happy with that. Of course, that'll be welded. I've still got to weld that in, but I got to flip the whole thing over and weld the underside still. So haven't done that yet. But yeah, and I might have my wife come out and help me do that here in just a few minutes, maybe, so that the next time I get a chance, I can go ahead and finish the welding that out. So yeah, there you go. There's your DSC mini tub, cross brace, track bar, setup, extraordinaire, with a couple extra added touches. Box this in. I'm actually gonna do a triangle brace under there on that one too, but I'm gonna wait till I flip it over, just for strength. We saw another person do that on, I don't remember what website it was or who did it, but seemed like a pretty good idea. So I may do that too. It wouldn't take that long. So anyway, all right.